One warm summer day, Mooneeb and his kitty were getting bored at home. They had played all the games they could think of, watched all the cartoons they liked, and read all the books they had. They wanted to do something new and exciting. "Hey, kitty, do you want to go on a space adventure with me?" Mooneeb asked his furry friend. Kitty replied, which meant yes. "Great. Let's go to the backyard and go on a space adventure on our rocket," Mooneeb said. Inside their rocket they had a space wheel, which was a spinning wheel with pictures of different planets on it. "Okay, kitty, we are going to use the space wheel to decide which planet to go to," Mooneeb explained. "You can spin it first." Kitty nodded and jumped on the space wheel. He gave it a hard push with his paw and watched it spin. The wheel made a clicking sound as it turned. It stopped at a picture of a desert planet. "Well, kitty, you picked the desert planet," Mooneeb exclaimed. "That's a very hot and dry place. We should pack some food and plenty of water." They quickly gathered some snacks, juice boxes, and water bottles from the kitchen, and put them in their backpacks. They also took some sunglasses, hats, sunscreen, and a map of the solar system. "Okay, kitty, we are ready to go," Mooneeb said. "Let's get on board the rocket." They climbed into the rocket and closed the door behind them. Mooneeb put on his seatbelt, and Kitty sat on his lap. Mooneeb turned on the engine and pressed a button that said launch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
"Blast off," Mooneeb shouted. The rocket made a loud noise and shook as it lifted off the ground. It soared through the clouds and into outer space. "Wow, kitty, look at that," Mooneeb said as he pointed at the window. "We are in space." Kitty meowed in awe as he saw the stars, planets, asteroids, and comets whizzing by. He pressed his nose against the window and tried to catch them with his paw. "Okay, kitty, we need to find our destination," Mooneeb said as he looked at the map. "The desert planet is called Dune 7. It's in another galaxy, so we need to use a wormhole to get there faster." "A wormhole is a shortcut in space that connects two distant points," Mooneeb explained. "It looks like a tunnel of light." He steered the rocket towards a bright spot in the sky. As they got closer, they saw that it was indeed a tunnel of light. "Hold on tight," Kitty, Mooneeb said as he entered the wormhole. The rocket zoomed through the wormhole at incredible speed. They saw flashes of colors and shapes as they traveled through time and space. "Whoa, this is awesome.
Wow.
We made it, Kitty," Mooneeb said. "We are in the Dune 7 galaxy." He checked the map again and found Dune 7 among the planets. It was a brown sphere with no clouds or water. "That's our desert planet," Mooneeb said. "Let's go there." He aimed the rocket towards Dune 7 and pressed a button that said land. The rocket descended towards Dune 7 and entered its atmosphere. It got hotter and hotter as they approached the surface. The rocket landed on a flat area of sand. Mooneeb opened the door and stepped out of the rocket. He felt the heat on his skin and saw waves of air rising from the ground. "It's like an oven here," he said. Kitty followed him out of the rocket and felt the same thing. They put on their sunglasses, hats, sunscreen, and backpacks. They looked around and saw nothing but sand dunes covering the entire land. There was no sign of life or vegetation. "This place is very boring," Mooneeb said. "Let's explore it. Maybe we'll find something interesting." They walked on the sand, but it was very difficult. The sand was soft and loose, and they sank into it with every step. It was also very hot and burned their feet. "This is hard work," Mooneeb said. They decided to take out their space monster truck from the rocket. It was a toy truck that Mooneeb had modified with some rocket boosters and a radio. It could run on any terrain and had a lot of power. "Let's use this to explore the planet," Mooneeb said. "It will be faster and easier." They got on the space monster truck and drove away from the rocket. They zoomed over the sand dunes and enjoyed the ride. "This is fun," Mooneeb said. On the horizon they saw a large mountain. They drove towards the mountain, but as they got closer, they noticed something strange. The sand around them started to move and swirl. It looked like water. "What's going on?" Mooneeb asked. They realized that they were in quicksand. The space monster truck started to sink into the sand. "Oh no, we are stuck in quicksand," Mooneeb screamed. Mooneeb tried to accelerate the space monster truck, but it was no use. The wheels spun in the sand and made it worse. The space monster truck sank deeper and deeper into the quicksand. "Help! Help! Mooneeb cried. They looked around for help, but there was no one in sight. They were alone on this desert planet. They started to lose hope and water supply also exhausted. They both cried for help, but no one heard them. Suddenly, they saw a shadow of a large animal walking on the horizon. Mooneeb and Kitty were both glad and scared at the same time. Look, Kitty, there is something over there. Mooneeb said, maybe it can help us. Kitty said, which meant maybe it can eat us. The shadow got closer and closer until they could see what it was. It was a camel. A camel is a large animal with long legs, a long neck, a hump on its back, and fur all over its body. It lives in deserts and could survive without water for a long time. Hello, camel. Mooneeb shouted, can you help us? We are stuck in quicksand. The camel looked at them with curiosity and sympathy. It spoke in a deep voice. Hello, little ones, the camel said. I can see that you are in trouble. Don't worry, I'll help you. The camel came closer to them and stopped at the edge of the quicksand. It had a rope around its neck. Throw me that rope, the camel said. I'll pull you out. Mooneeb and Kitty were happy to hear that. They quickly tied one end of rope to their monster truck and threw the other end towards the camel. The camel caught the rope with its mouth and pulled it tight. It started to pull them out of the quicksand with its strength. Come on, the camel said as it pulled. Mooneeb and Kitty felt their space monster truck moving slightly. They were hopeful that they would get out soon. But then they felt their space monster truck stop moving again. The quicksand was too strong and held them back. Oh no, we are still stuck, Mooneeb said. The camel looked at them with concern and frustration. It pulled harder, but it was not enough. I'm sorry, little ones, the camel said. I can't pull you out by myself. You are too heavy for me. Mooneeb and Kitty were sad and scared again. They thought they would never get out of this quicksand. But then Kitty had an idea. Hey, Mooneeb, Kitty said. Why don't we turn on the rocket boosters on our space monster truck as the camel pulls? Maybe that will help us get out.
That's a good idea!
Mooneeb said. Let's do it. Mooneeb pressed a button that activated the rocket boosters on their space monster truck. The truck made a loud noise and shot out flames from its back. The camel also pulled again with full force. Wow, Kitty, look at that, Mooneeb said as he felt the truck lifting up from the sand. The camel was amazed and impressed by their space monster truck. It pulled the rope harder and helped them get out of the quicksand. They were free. Hooray! We did it! Mooneeb cheered. They thanked the camel for his help. They told him that they were out of water and very thirsty. The camel felt sorry for them and offered to take them to his home, where there was plenty of water and food. You are very kind, Camel, Mooneeb said. We would love to go with you. The camel told them to sit on his back, and he would give them a ride. They agreed and climbed on his back. They left their space monster truck behind, but not before locking it with a remote control. The camel started running on the sand very fast. He was very agile and graceful on the desert terrain. Wow, camel, how can you run so fast on the sand? Mooneeb asked. It's because of my feet, the camel said. They have wide, flat hoofs that spread out when I step on the sand. This helps me avoid sinking and gives me more traction. That's amazing, Mooneeb said. The camel continued. It's not just my feet that help me survive in the desert. It's also my hump. Your hump? Mooneeb asked. Yes, my hump, the camel said. It's not filled with water, as some people think. It's filled with fat. Fat? Mooneeb asked. Yes, fat, the camel said. Fat is a source of energy that I can use when there is no food around. I can go for weeks without eating, thanks to my hump. That's incredible, Mooneeb said. Mooneeb and Kitty were surprised to learn about the facts about the body of the camel. They realized that he was a very special animal that was well adapted to his environment. After a while, they arrived at a green patch of land filled with vegetation, trees, and birds of various kinds. It was like an oasis in the middle of the desert. This is my home, the camel said. This is an oasis. An oasis? Mooneeb asked. Yes, an oasis, the camel said. It's a place where water comes from underground and creates a fertile spot in the desert. There are many plants and animals that live here. That's beautiful, Mooneeb said. The camel brought them to his home, which was a beautiful cave inside a small green mountain. The cave was cool and cozy, with carpets, cushions, lamps, and paintings. "Welcome to my home," the camel said. "Make yourselves comfortable." He offered them spring water, dates, and coconut. They drank and ate with gratitude. They were very hungry and thirsty after their adventure. After the meal, Mooneeb opened his travel bag and gave everyone a chocolate for dessert. He said that it was a special treat for their space adventure, and that they should eat it in moderation. The camel was surprised to taste chocolate for the first time. He liked it very much and thanked Mooneeb for sharing it with him. Mooneeb told the camel and kitty to brush their teeth after the meal, especially after eating chocolate and candies, so that their teeth would remain powerful and strong. They all brushed their teeth with toothbrushes and toothpaste that Mooneeb had brought from home. They smiled at each other and showed their shiny teeth. Mooneeb and Kitty thanked the camel for his help and hospitality. They said that it was getting late, and his mommy would be worried about them. The camel understood and offered to take them back to their space monster truck. He said that he enjoyed their company and hoped to see them again. They agreed and climbed on his back. He ran back to the place where their monster truck was parked. Mooneeb and Kitty said farewell to the camel and hugged him. They thanked him again for everything. The camel said goodbye to them and wished them a safe journey. He watched them drive their truck into the rocket and take off. They waved at him from the window and smiled. They flew back to Earth through the wormhole and landed in their backyard. They ran upstairs and found their mommy waiting for them. She hugged them and asked them where they had been. She said that she was worried about them. Mooneeb told her the story of his space adventure with Kitty and the camel. He told her everything that had happened, from the space wheel to the quicksand to the oasis. His mommy listened with interest and amazement. She praised him for his creativity and courage. She also praised Kitty for his cleverness and loyalty. She said that they had a very interesting adventure, but they should not go to space without telling her first. She said that she loved them very much and wanted them to be safe. Mooneeb and Kitty nodded and apologized. They said that they loved her too, and would not do it again. They hugged her and kissed her. They were happy to be home. They went to their room and got ready for bed. They were very tired after their adventure. They snuggled in their bed and closed their eyes. They dreamed of their space adventure with the camel. They smiled in their sleep. The end.
In a rocket ship, Mooneeb and Kitty hop through the vastness of space. Their adventure won't stop. With their helmets on tight and their spirits so high, they zoom through the stars, reaching for the sky. They meet friendly aliens with big googly eyes. Floating in zero gravity, they wave their goodbyes. Exploring planets with colors so bright. Mooneeb and Kitty, a cosmic delight. They dance on the moon in a gravity-free spin. They laugh and they twirl with a wide grin. From Saturn's rings to Mars' red hue, Mooneeb and Kitty, their dreams coming true. They dodge shooting stars and meteor showers. Their rocket ship gliding with superpowers, discovering new worlds and life forms unknown. Mooneeb and Kitty, in space they have grown. As the stars twinkle and the galaxies swirl, Mooneeb and Kitty too, best friends in this world. Their space adventures are a tale to be told, of bravery, friendship, and wonders untold. So join Mooneeb and Kitty on their cosmic ride, with their hearts full of courage side by side. In the vast expanse of the universe they roam, Mooneeb and Kitty, the cosmic explorers we've known.